Hello. Today I thought I'd show you my current TBR pile. For those who don't know, that means to be read pile. All the books that I currently have borrowed from the library that I'm intending to read, and I always borrow too much. I always bite off more than I can chew, but I like to have lots of choice, and there's perks to being a librarian or a library assistant or working in a library. So I actually have a cupboard next to my bed where I put all of my current TBRs, and I thought I'd take you on a little tour of it. Let's go and take a look. So here's my little bedside table, and on top I have my desk lamp and water and this little mini vase that I like to put a flower in or something from my garden. There's not one in there at the moment. And a beautiful candle and the book I'm currently reading. Oh, and also my phone charger as well. It's just there. So the top drawer isn't very interesting. It's a bit of a mess in there actually, but it's got iron tablets. It's got a bracelet I was wearing, some bookmarks, which I might show you in another video actually. It's got, my medication, all those sort of things. Nothing very interesting in there. But this is the interesting cupboard. Let's have a look. Oh, as you can see, I have quite a big pile in there. So I have my pile of books to be read. I also have Miffy. I don't know why she lives in there. She just lives in there with my books. And I've got my guard dog guarding my books. Yes, that's Mackenzie from Bluey, the children's TV show in Australia. My kids bought that for me. But Mackenzie guards my books. And I also have this really warm pair of socks in case my feet get cold in the night. I've had these since I was a teenager. They're really super warm Australian merino socks, and they're old and crappy, but they're super warm. So they live here in case I get cold feet. And I've also got a notebook here in case I want to write stuff down or can't get to sleep because I'm overthinking. So let's go through the books that are in my to be read pile. Okay, without further ado, let's see what's in my to be read pile. I've got Bluebell here. If you can hear some chewing, she's chewing on her foot. So if you hear her in the background or if she pops up, she's just here. So, oh, have you got a cup of tea before we begin? I'm drinking, I think it's, okay, I don't know how to pronounce this. The spelling to an Australian looks like yerba mate, but I'm sure that's not it. Is it yerba mate? I don't know. It's like a herb tea. It's really lovely. It tastes really good. Oh, it's a bit hot. Really nice. Okay, so currently I'm reading The Nakano Thrift Shop by Hiromi Kawakami. I announced this on Instagram just recently that my family and I are going on a trip to Japan in about 4 weeks, and we're really excited. We cannot wait. My husband and I went to Japan on our honeymoon about 14 years ago, so we've been dying to go back, especially because I've been learning Japanese language for a while now. And we planned this trip in 2020, and yeah, that didn't happen. Thanks, COVID. And then we rebooked in 2021, and so this is our Japan 2020 trip in 2023. We're hopefully going to be there right at the right time for the sakura blossoms, or the cherry blossoms, for Hanami, which is the cherry blossom viewing season. We're really excited about that. I've never been there at that time of year, and the kids are really excited to go as well. They've been watching a lot of Japanese culture videos on YouTube, and they both learn Japanese at school too. So we're all really looking forward to it as a family. So I've been doing a little bit of extracurricular reading, and this is the Nakano thrift shop. I've only just started it, so I can't really give an indication of how I feel about it just yet. I think I'm only in the first, I'm up to page 18, so I really have only just started it. And leading into my junior fiction and youth fiction pile. So on that theme, I've also borrowed this book called Temple Alley Summer, which I just love the look of straight away. I think maybe the girls will read this too. It's by Sachiko Kashiwaba, and it's got some illustrations in there too. I don't know if you can see that. Some gorgeous illustrations. Which I thought were really cute. It's kind of like it. And I was just attracted to it by the beautiful cover illustration and also the illustrations inside. The other one I have in my youth or junior fiction pile is this one called Love, Lies and Spies. And this one I wrote purely on the cover. Look at that cover. It's so pretty. I love the horse and cart here, the sulky, and then all of these antique keys. There's an umbrella here as well. I just think that's absolutely beautiful. And anything set in the early 1900s, late 1800s, I'm a huge fan of all the time. So this looks like it's going to be really interesting. It looks like it might be, it says, in this hilarious homage to Jane Austen, a lady with a penchant for trouble finds a handsome spy more than merely tolerable. So looks really cool. Can't wait to read that one. Okay, next pile. We'll do non-fiction. This is my non-fiction selection of books that are in my to be read pile at the moment. Hello, Bluebell. Sit. Oh, that's a good girl. You're going to visit. You want to read some books? Do you? Do you want to read some books? Of course you do. What's that? What is it? What's that? Do you want to go out? Oh, okay. Wait a second. Emergency. Dog emergency. So on my non-fiction pile, I've currently got Blue Horses by Mary Oliver. This is a poetry book. A lot of the YouTubers I follow really love her poetry and have been reading her poetry of late. So this is a really short little book, but I thought I'd have a look at her poetry. I'm not a huge poetry reader or consumer, so we'll see. Then I've got Unpolished Gem by Alice Pung. I absolutely loved her book Lorinda. She is a Melbourne writer. So she's from here in Melbourne, which is really nice. I believe she has a Chinese Cambodian background. I might have that wrong, not sure. But yes, she writes from that space, and her book, Lorinda, was amazing. I really loved it. That's a youth fiction book, so I'm really interested to read this. It's a non-fiction book and it's biographical, so I'm really interested to see what that's like. Okay, so I have this book called Mountain Tales, Love and Loss in the Municipality of Castaway Belongings by Soumya Roy. There's a very short blurb on the back of this and I'll read it to you. It says, a city struggling with the cost of its appetites, a rubbish mountain 18 stories high, and the people who call it home. I believe this is set in Mumbai, in India, and it's about the people who live in around the slums and are waste pickers in the refuse piles around the slums in India. And I've had this for a while actually, but I think I will start reading it pretty soon. I'm really interested to read this. Okay, next book is Fearless Footsteps. So this is a travel history. It was in the travel history section. And it's a collection of travel stories that covers every continent from Africa to Antarctica. So they're short anecdotes from travellers compiled in this book by Intrepid. And I can't wait I love travel writing. I love reading travel writing. So I can't wait to read this. It's only quite short, so, shouldn't take too long. But yeah, I picked this up because I love travel stories. I'll put that here. And this book is also short stories, I think, or short anecdotes. It was in the health section at the library, and it's called Outrunning the Demons by Phil Hewitt. Lives transformed through running. I think this is in short chapters written by different people. Yeah, so I'm really interested to read that too. I also love, as well as travel writing, I also love adventure and extreme sports and exploration writing and that kind of thing. So I think this is going to be a bit like that. Okay, we're about halfway through, believe it or not. It's quite a big pile. Bear with me. So my next pile is general fiction. I've got 3 books here. The first book I've got on my to be read pile is Breasts and Eggs by Meiko Kawakami. Oh, Kawakami. That's the same name as the book I'm reading now, but it's not the same person. So I was initially attracted to this because of the title, Breasts and Eggs, and also that it's got a recommendation by Haruki Murakami, who I absolutely love. If you've ever read What I Talk About When I Talk About Running and the Wind-Up Bird Chronicles, they're amazing. They're so strange and imaginative and off the wall, but they're absolutely beautiful prose. So if you get a chance to tackle some Haruki Murakami, I believe there's Norwegian Wood is another one that people really love. I haven't read that though. So a recommendation from him really sealed it for me. And also that it's set in Japan. And obviously I'm reading a little bit in that area because we'll be going shortly. So it says, on a hot summer's day in Tokyo, 2 sisters are reunited when the elder Makiko travels to the city in search of breast enhancement surgery, accompanied by her sullen and silent teenage daughter, Midoriko. Over the course of their trip, Natsuko's small flat becomes a pressure cooker around them. All 3 are in the grips of their own battles, with the bodies that portray them year by year and the way that their class constrains them. And yet each also fears that one of the other women will be the thing to truly drag them under. 10 years later, we meet Natsuko again. Now a writer, she finds herself on a journey back to her native city, returning to memories of that summer as she faces her own uncertain future. In Breasts and Eggs, Meiko Kawakami paints a radical and intimate portrait of what it is to be a woman in contemporary Japan. This is an unforgettable debut from a major new international voice. So that sounds amazing. I can't wait to read that. I love to read about women from other countries and cultures and their experience. So excited to read that. Then we have The Tiger Mum's Tale by Lynn Liao Butler. I don't know much about this, honestly. I picked it up and it's about an American woman inheriting the wealth of her Taiwanese family, and finding out about her family's, I guess, hidden secrets or past. It looks really interesting. It looks like it is set across America and Taiwan, which I don't know much about Taiwan. I haven't read much fiction set in Taiwan. So that was a reason that I was interested in reading this. And then we've got The Stranger in the Lifeboat by Mitch Albom. And I read The 5 People You Meet in Heaven, and it was amazing, also by Mitch Albom. And then my friend Kelly, who we often swap books if we find something we love. We often recommend books to each other. She read this and loved it and recommended this to me. She said it's quite philosophical, and it's kind of an allegory, I guess, or maybe a metaphor, but it just says on the back, 1 shipwreck, 10 strangers, a life or death mystery to solve, and the journey that will inspire you. So borrowed that on Kelly's recommendation. She's pretty much on the money. Every time she recommends something, I usually love it. So last pile. It is the biggest pile. It is by far my favorite genre to read currently anyway. So a big boy. There's 6 books in this pile. So the first book is Mommy, a novel to Little Women by Sarah Miller. Who doesn't love Little Women? Come on. We love Little Women. I love Little Women. So when I saw that there was a, I guess, hello, I'm filming.
Oh.
It's okay.
Hey?
It's okay, you can talk to me.
No, it's alright.
I can edit. Yeah, so this is a, it's by the author of Caroline. Now, you know Little House on the Prairie? The mother's name is Caroline. So I read Caroline, which is, instead of the story of Little House on the Prairie being told by Laura Ingalls, who was, 9 or 10 or 11 at the time, it's told by Carolyn, who was the mother, and how she experienced their life as a pioneer woman. And it's really interesting take on the story, because Laura's story is one of idealism and childhood innocence and, the wonder of new places and new things. And Carolyn's perspective is very different. It's about the realities and the harshness and the loneliness and the way a grown woman experiences pioneer life. So it was really good. So this is Mommy. This is the story of Little Women told by the mum, told by Mommy, not by Josephine, by one of the girls. So along the same lines as Carolyn. So I'm really interested to read that, because I did like Carolyn. It was a really great book. Then I've got this one called The Gifts. I'm not sure who recommended this to me. I can't remember. It was someone at work. So someone I work with at the library. It says, it will take something extraordinary to show 4 women who they truly are. So I have no idea what to expect with this one, and sometimes that's good. Sometimes that's good to read something with no expectation. So I'll see what this one's like and I'll let you know. If you've read it, comment below with no spoilers. Comment below if you liked it. Then I don't know why, I have 2 very similar books on my pile, but they're not the same. I have The Keepers of the Lighthouse by Kay Dobby. And I also have The Lighthouse Witches by C.J. Cook. I don't know how two lighthouse flavoured books ended up in my pile, but here we are. So this one's set on the cliffs of a remote Scottish island, and it's about a mysterious witch hunt and witches and history and mystery surrounding this lighthouse. So that sounds really cool. And this one's actually set in Australia. I believe it's set in Tasmania, in a lighthouse in Tasmania. And some of the book is written in 1882 and some of it's written in 2020. So it's about a family who returns to the lighthouse and what happened in the past, and them discovering what happened in the past. And then we have At the Water's Edge, by Sarah Gruen. I read Sarah Gruen's book Water for Elephants and I absolutely loved it. So I thought I'd give this one a go as well. It's set in Philadelphia in 1944 and also in the Scottish Highlands as well. So anything set in Scotland or Ireland or the UK, I'm always a fan of, like, big thumbs up for me. And that's another place I'd love to travel to one day. I believe it's sort of features around the Loch Ness Monster, the legend and myth of the Loch Ness Monster as well. And the last book on my to be read pile is The Foundling School for Girls by Elizabeth Gill. And I picked this one up. I was just shelving some books at work and I thought it kind of sounded cute. I don't really know why, but it just says, she may be an orphan, but she has hope for the future. And again, it's in that setting that I love, in the 1900s in England. It sounds like it's set on Christmas Eve, or some of it begins on Christmas Eve, and it's set in Durham. And it's about some children who become orphans and are taken in by some nuns as foundlings. So I can't wait to read that one as well. Okay, that's the end of my pile. So what's on your current to be read list? Is yours as long as mine is, working in a library? Thank goodness I don't work in a bookshop, or I would be very, very poor. Thank goodness library books are free. I always have a massive pile of books. I always bring home way more than I could possibly read. But, you know, it's part of the job. Thanks for joining me in this video. Bluebell says goodbye. And I'm going to go and drink this cup of tea. And I still haven't thought of an outro for these videos. Say hi to your mum for me. Drive carefully. Watch out for idiot drivers on the road. I'll give you a call next week. I'll think of something. Yeah, I'll think of something. Let's I'll think of something. Next video. All right.